Well, that was a terrific prequel, Tom. I regrettably, my only annoyance to myself is I didn't actually hit record because, yeah, but that's okay. Maybe
When
we can.
we have the whole process of disassembling the machine and finding all this,
We'll have to
we'll
have you
come
back.
back and we'll do
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great.
If there's any interest, I don't know if anyone
Yeah,
here
I'd love
besides
to see. I'd love to see
John.
it. You
Yeah.
know, so for sure. But thanks for sharing. That was fun.
Yep.
Um, So, in terms of announcements, I don't think I need to state the obvious, but I will anyway, is that we know that the next big event is right around the corner. And that's, of course, the Nevix New England Vintage Electronics Expo on March 1st. And it's right around the corner. So I would say we're probably the last posting that we put up. I would say we probably are around 75% of the tables are taken. So if you're still thinking about looking for a table or wanting to sell some items, there's still tables available. I think there's a good 15 to 20 tables still around. So bear that in mind. If you're unsure what tables are available, just go to the purchase page of our website and click on the table assignment page, and that's updated pretty regularly and probably will be updated again this weekend. Um, Going forward, because in terms of the next events, we do have on February 28th a HamCom Vermont Ham Radio Convention in Colchester, Vermont. And so that's from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And for anyone who doesn't know where Colchester is, it's just outside of Burlington. So it's way up there,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it'll be a terrific one. Um, and then on March 1st, coinciding with our show, is the original New England Vinyl Record and CD show in Dedham, Massachusetts. And that goes from 9:30 to 3. So if you plan your time correctly, you come to our show in New Hampshire, in Windham, New Hampshire, then you scoot down 128, ultimately to Dedham to go make the New England Vinyl and Record and CD show. And then on March 8th, there is a Record Shows Main at the Fireside Inn in Portland, Maine, and that goes from 9 to 3 p.m. Unfortunately, I don't, the only information I have on this event is an email address. They don't seem to have a website or anything that posts there, but it is at the Fireside Inn in Portland, so I have to assume that's easy enough to find by just looking at Google Maps or your Apple Maps. And so those are probably the big events coming forward the next couple of weeks. And so, as you can imagine, our next meeting, whoops, I have some people waiting to come in. Oh, here we go. Our next meeting will be around Robin, and everyone gets to show what they came back from our big event at Wyndham or anything else you happen to pick up. But any rate, so I guess since we seem to be missing Carl, is that I'm going to there was like I said, there was a bunch of photos they have from fall Brookline and never we never actually went through that I can show and maybe they'll inspire you for the upcoming uh our upcoming show. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops, I think we
Just a side comment. Andy, if you could turn off your microphone, please.
Yep, hang on.
well, there we go. Thank you. I was just about to look. No problem. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So a little bit of inspiration. We could walk through some of these. Let me share my screen. Now I'm hoping I remember where I left off.
You'll probably be the only one.
That may be true. That may be true because I sort of remember and I hadn't really, so I thought maybe I'll just do a little walkthrough. We could talk about some of this stuff, and also hopefully it'll inspire you for what's coming around the corner. But here's actually a nice, I'd say, late 60s Sony stereo, maybe early 70s, but judging from the material and the trim, I would say this probably more like late 60s. And I'm sure it's a nice sounding system. And oh yeah, here's a Con R. That just somehow is upset. That picture somehow is upside down. But it is I guess it's a tester. An appliance tester, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yes.
So kind of neat in its own way. Not seen all that often. Oh, this was a this is one of those like I say early mid 70s Panasonic. I think this may have optionally had a second speaker. I think this is stereo. And so this is maybe something that inspires people to have something from I would say the early mid 70s. I think as I remember, it has got the rotary dial on this. Actually, I think this might have been Bruce Phillips' table, as I remember. I can't swear to it, but I think it was. Oh, there's Tom Scarpelli and Dave. Oh, begins with an S. Oh, Dave, if you're gonna watch the video, I'm gonna forgive me for forgetting your last name. But we had a terrific talk too when I was there, and somehow I'm having a brain freeze. But yes, and Bruce Phillips is sitting there in the background. But I always try to make sure we get some people in the photos here. Oh yeah, this was the NEBIC troubleshooting clinic. Yeah, Jim Bolasak and Larry Sendry did a great job of actually having people come in, bringing some interesting devices, and then to go in and try to help them diagnose their problems. At least give them some strong hints as where the problem may be. And they really did roll up their sleeves, and they did a terrific job. And Jim was obviously explaining to somebody what he was up to there. But that was actually I thought it was a pretty cool, and I like to think a reasonably successful clinic. And it was done, sort of as a trial balloon to see how this would go. And I thought it went really well. So a big thank you to both those guys. They brought test equipment and testers and things like that to help, people diagnose the best likely problem with their device. And these weren't simple, like little AA5 device radios. There was some pieces that had a little more sophistication. Let's see here. Oh, this was one. Oh, this was a Radio Shack. The theme for one of the radio contests was Radio Shack, and I forget whose this was, but they had just a terrific set of like your Radio Shack catalogs, you name it. You could find it in Radio Shack. It was a really good, actually, it was a really good. That was a great idea from Paul Rochelo, who runs our contests. To come up with some really interesting themes or categories to compete against. And this time it was Radio Shack was one
Is
of them.
the orange transistor radio in the middle there, is that like one that was made to go on your bicycle?
Oh,
The light orange, the one with the two dials?
this one right here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It certainly looks like it could have been. I wonder if it was mountable. Probably was, because it isn't all that big. Don't see any obvious way to mount it, but maybe they have something on the back.
I bet
I
you
don't
the
know what that
mounting was
chrome-
probably attached to the back of that thing. You just probably just strapped it to the handlebars.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. In retrospect, I wish I never had a radio on my bicycle. Now that I look back, I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, this is a great contact. I mean, I brought something I thought was pretty neat as well, but this stuff, the stuff that people brought in really blew me away. There's obviously a lot of people with a soft spot for Radio Shack, and I can't blame them. There's a close up of some of the other items here between the catalogs. Had this, I guess, this beach ball balloon, Radio Shack, and was a tester of some sort. There's a tube tester. What is this? Yeah, it's a tube tester.
Looks like a tube tester.
Yeah, yeah, but there's some, obviously a kid's turntable. There's some really good stuff. That was a fun contest.
The
Just
Minmus 7.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, it's a multi-tester. I forgot whose this was. I apologize because it's enough time has gone by. I had it more in the forefront of my mind when, right after the
Was that tester
What?
the one that they called it a Micronta or something like that?
Yeah, that was one of their brands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I've got the Micronta. I think I've got that tester still.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The box is long gone, but I still got the tester.
oh, look at that. That nice realistic, early tube stereo amplifier. Pretty neat, actually, and beautiful pitch. This might have been Bruce's. I apologize, but it's such nice shape and makes me suspect. And look, it has a nice AM FM band. The stereo line, clearly early mid 60s.
Some of those early Radio Shack speakers had electrostatic tweeters and power cords coming out of the back of them too.
Interesting.
I had a pair of those realistic speakers that, yeah, you had speaker wire and you had a plug to plug into the wall socket so that you could power up the supply for the electrostatic.
Interesting. Oh, another realistic amplifier, relatively small. This is Radio Shack Boston. That's really interesting. So this is much earlier. Maybe this is probably I don't even think this is stereo. This may be
That's a monoblock, and that's
Yeah.
probably late 50s, early 60s right there.
yeah, but look at the condition on that. Just it looks like it rolled out of the showroom.
It's
You know,
beautiful.
that's what I loved about it. That's why I brought in my one. I thought, well, maybe I have a chance of one of the of placing. And I looked at the stuff. I said, oh no, this is not going to happen. I looked at this stuff. I said, whoa. I love seeing this stuff. What's interesting is it has the Radio Shack Boston. So I was wondering, when did they stop their affiliation with Boston? What year? I wonder, because I'm so used to, I guess, in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, tied to, Texas or whatnot. But I really, really like to see, I really enjoyed seeing this. Let's see here. There we go. Well, and yet another one. Looks like a FM tuner, an amplifier to the side. Another one showed up. So we had lots of Radio Shack tube amplifier and receivers, FM receivers and AM as well. Okay. There's I got to have brought this in, but there's some realistic transistor radios. And this one is those build a transmitter and jam it wherever you want, whether it be a stuffed animal or and create a table do it out of, put it in your table. I submitted this one. It's all original, including the battery, which is in its cellophane wrapper still, never been cracked. And so, I got that from a member who was selling it some time ago, a few years ago. And I said, oh, I love this. I have this soft spot for Radio Shack. It was a kit, radio kit you could build, just an AM radio. So it's obviously solid state, but it was just fun because I remember seeing these as a kid in the store. And I said, oh, for the price, I had to have it. So, the box is in pretty good shape too. The instructions are on the back. It's very straightforward, but it's never been built. Everything is brand spanking new.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, it was fun. I love the fact the battery is, in its cellophane. It's never been opened. Even the Radio Shack, name on the battery. Whoop. There we go. Oh yeah, this is a little bit better picture of this might have been what was it brought this, but a nice um AM radios with the advertisement and the box. Very cool. Why do I see the arrow? Oh, sorry about that, but it's getting a little finicky. I don't know why I can't find the arrow at times. Whoops.
Was there an Melco or a Mikos collection there?
Whoop, sorry, I just skipped a picture, but I'll go back. I'll go to the next one there, Rob.
All right.
Yeah, it's more Radio Shack transistors with the catalog reference. I thought that was pretty fun to see that with the catalogs referencing and the advertisements for the radio. So people really did a great job in bringing stuff in. There we go. Oh, this was Al Perkis's. He had all these walkie-talkies from Radio Shack. Just look at them all with their boxes. I mean, look at it all. Like, I love the graphics on there, Construction Man, and he had Space Patrol. Yes, I love it. I think he placed with these as well. I forgot which place he had won, but I mean, can't beat this. I mean, look at the collection of 27 megahertz walkie-talkies. We had the whole set.
Those have got to be from what, the late 50s, early 60s?
I would say probably 60s, most of this, maybe
Yeah.
some 70s stuck
Yeah.
in. But I love the fact they're all in their boxes, and the boxes are in mostly really good shape. It was really fun. And in fact, I didn't even realize how many walkie-talkie models they made until I saw this collection. Yeah, I remember a couple of these, but I don't remember all of these. So I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. That was fun. Oh, another. Here's a music sound level meter. Something you don't see very often, actually. And of course, you had another, looks like another stereo amplifier. But that was really interesting. You just don't see these very often.
Nope.
And Eddie, I don't care who makes it. No, you just don't see these very often. Okay, now we go to something totally different. It's this picture. Sorry, this might not come out. This picture didn't come out as well as I would have liked to have. This is
Oh, it's a freshman.
freshman. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, the picture. Apologies, but this one, it's a little bit out of focus. I might have taken this. I moved or something, but sorry about that. But yeah. Oh, helicopters. I forget whose table this was. It was outdoors. I don't know if that was Rogers, but with speaker, $55. Looks to be in pretty nice shape. It looks like it has all the documentation up top. So it looks like in pretty nice shape. Seems like not an unreasonable amount of money for this, especially if it works. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's and this is this not the
Oh, it's the
Helicrafter.
Shank.
Yes, exactly. I was always going to say RCA, and it was no, it doesn't look right. It's Helicrafters. You actually don't see these that often. At least from my, usually I'm so used to seeing the Zeniths and the RCAs.
Well, there was like 6 or 7 of them that just kind of copied Zenith's radio and kind of ran with the ball. But that's you don't see too many Halicrafters around.
Yep.
I think they had I'm trying to remember. I couldn't tell from the picture if that's a TW1000 or 2000. It's probably a 2000 would be my guess. They didn't make too many of them.
Yeah, I guess that's why we don't see them on the. It was sort of a pleasant surprise to see it on the table. But here is a Telefunken Bajazzo U. And this is actually a U.S. export. This is one of the earlier ones that made it to U.S. shores as a with the full FM spectrums. This is actually U.S. import model from Telefunken.
John, was that a battery and AC radio?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly
wow.
right. And this one I know only has I don't think the battery works. The one thing I'd say about these knobs are not correct.
Actually,
Yeah,
they look like Halcrafters
they
knobs.
do. I was just
They
gonna
may well
say,
be. They may well be. I suspect what happened because the real knobs, the proper knobs on these is essentially is the plastic color with a gold, a brass insert, is what you typically see, and they're hard to find. In fact, you don't see these very often, these radios.
Hmm.
Because you'll see more of the ones. This is from 1954. The ones that follow were more common, not from a relative scale. Even those aren't seen very often, but this particular one is not seen very often. So it's a neat radio. This one is only AM, FM, if I recall this. So it's a pretty simple radio in terms of it doesn't have the any shortwave band. But still, it was probably one of
It's
the first ones to be a import for the United States as a portable by Telefunken.
there's a long wave. I just kind of like zoomed in on my machine, and it's got a long wave band
Yeah,
on it.
right. It's got I strike that it does have I didn't see that. You're right. You are 100% right. It does have a long wave. So it's actually three band. I stand corrected. Um but neat to see. Plus, it's actually neat because it has sort of this nice, burgundy brown cabinet with the sort of a gold um dial face background. And if it had proper knobs, this would be look a little nicer.
Yeah, if that thing was polished up and had the right knobs, man, that thing would be really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I think I had a sticker on top for $10. That was a
10 bucks.
bargain.
That is such a deal.
Yep.
Um,
That's a 42 Zenith. I don't remember the model number, but that's the two band six tube version of it.
yep, you got it. And I know this is Roger's Sansusi's table. That I
the
do know. That's his Toyota RAV4 in the background.
little Art Deco design.
Yeah, isn't it? It's a beautiful radio.
It's a
Yeah.
good looking set.
And I think this was probably chances are Roger restored this. So, got it working electronically. So for 45 bucks, that's a pretty fair deal. And this on top of it is a Grundig Klangstrahlers LS2B speaker from, I'd say, 1961 or two. It's bookshelf speakers. So basically, you connect up to, a lot of the German radios allow for an extra speaker to be connected in, and that's what you do. Put one of these up in your bookshelf, and you get yourself a +1 speaker with whatever number of speakers your tabletop has or your console. Oh, of course, no swap meet would be complete without. Let's see,
A
this translates.
G500. They made that run for 15 months. It's a G500 from 1950. And that's the first one that used the miniature tubes from the
Ah,
Lochtels.
interesting. And this one is priced at 20 bucks.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
If it's got the 1L6 or something in it. No,
Yeah,
don't they even use the 1L6s? Did they use the 1L6 in that one?
Yes, they do.
Oh boy, that tube alone is worth the price of the radio.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
they're getting harder to find. The only thing I can see wrong with that radio is it's missing the clip off the top of the antenna, the hold down clip. I don't see it on there.
Oh,
But it's in good shape though. I mean the bones of it's pretty good.
Yeah.
yeah. You could clean it up and
Oh,
geez.
Andy's showing off his. He's got his in the picture.
Oh, does I
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, he
But
does.
I don't think those are original knobs though.
They are original knobs. The problem with that, Rob, is that they're the plastic kind of what's the term
Oh,
for that where they just cover themselves in crap.
like an oxide almost.
Yeah, they kind of oxidated or something like that. But if you cleaned them up, you would see that you actually, if you look at the knobs closely, underneath the gook, you can see like the gold stripe that goes around
Oh
the.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's not an
yeah,
uncommon thing when they're left around for a long time.
yeah.
What do you use to clean them up, Bob? To get
Just a toothbrush and some kind of cleaner, light
right,
cleaner, not too you wouldn't want to put Ajax on, but just
right.
some kind of light cleaner, and they'll clean up. I like Simple Green. That's my favorite
Yeah.
go-to cleaner. It does a good job in cleaning, and it's not that harsh.
So to be fair, that radio that I showed on camera is not mine. It belongs to a buddy of mine, and I'm going to fix it for him once my capacitor order comes in.
Okay, that was a G500 you were holding up, right, Andy?
It was indeed, yes.
Yeah, okay.
You know I have one of the first one of those that came out. It was the one with the airplane on the front
Oh
panel.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the one with the bomber on it.
Right. But
Yeah,
that thing is driving me nuts because they use this rubber insulation.
yeah, the rubber wiring.
It all brittled up and all the insulation has fallen off the wires.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only thing you could do, I've done that kind of stuff with some of the later ones. All the Lochtel tube versions of the Transoceanic had that same issue.
Yeah.
So you have two choices. You could either replace the wire or do what I did and go to, order it online or go to I actually have a local source for that, and I can get colored shrink tubing and
Yeah.
just take off one end of the wire that's easier to get at, and then clean off the junky insulation and slide shrink tubing over it, and then it'll be okay. But it's an
Yeah, I've been
arduous task. I did it to a radio I did like 11, 12 years ago, and that radio took me like a month and a half to get done. It was terrible.
I've been doing it, replacing the wires as I've been recapping it, and uh, I don't want to tell you how long it's taken me so far, and I'm not
Yeah,
done.
it's easier to have a trip to the dentist or something, or
Yeah,
get a prostate exam than rather than sit there and do that.
or get a colonoscopy, whatever.
There you go. Well, so we're on the same wavelength, Rob. We're okay. We know. Andy too. I'm sure Andy's seen that too.
Yeah, because you just can't touch anything. You touch one capacitor, and more insulation flies off, and oh God, you just got to do it. You just got to do it one wire at a time, and when you get the opportunity, you replace the capacitor that's there and go on and move on to the next couple of wires, and then you get really frustrated with it, and you say, "Oh, I can't do this."
I
20,
had that
40
problem with
years
the old
ago, I
Zenith.
probably could have done it in a month, but it's taken me forever.
This is more an episode of Zenith TO Anonymous. That's funny. That's funny.
But
Well, here's the gang at the front table. There's Roger and his pretty much his relatives, family, his sons, and there's Chuck, and there's all those guys running the getting all the vendors in the building as well as in the parking lot. So we have a crack team of guys to get everything organized here at Brookline, and of course, they likewise Roger will helps and will be getting our Castleton show off the ground as well. So he works a lot in the background. So he's key to all our swap meets.
very nice.
TV.
Oh,
RC.
that is cool. I haven't seen one of them in a while.
Yeah, with
That's about 64, 65 RCA Victor black and white TV. And I think that was one of their earliest ones that actually had UHF on it. That's that little bar on top there.
Yeah, right here.
Built-in UHF.
Yeah, I know. And I guess this must be the speaker here, I would think.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to fix one of them. I think I was in high school for a high school friend of mine. And when I got it fixed and working for him, I said, if it breaks again, buy another TV. I don't want to see that one. It's just a real pain. Everything's really condensed in a set. It just looks cool though. It's just really
Yeah.
kind of almost George Jetson-ish.
Yeah, you don't see these very often,
No,
and it was actually, you can see it's in pretty decent shape. I mean, you could use some cleaning, but looks pretty much all there, you know. Cassette deck, realistic,
yes.
straight out of the probably, late 70s.
You see the little VU meter there in front of the
Yeah,
speaker.
yeah, level and
think I,
battery. It's
I
battery,
think I owned one of these once upon a time.
and $5.
You can own it again, Rob.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. I have a large amounts of misery around now, so I don't need another one of those. It's been so cold in my cellar that I haven't been able to do any work at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
I'm
bet.
in the same boat. I got a 100-year-old house, and when it gets windy outside, I'm toast.
Yeah, it's been running low 50s down there. And at 82 years old, I just can't do much anymore in that kind of weather.
Yeah, yeah. That's an oversight. This is Roger Sensusi's table because I just took the close-ups of everything. It's just to
Yeah.
pan out. And there's his Toyota RAV4.
Yeah.
You got some record albums there too.
Oh yeah, Roger can have quite a variety. I've come away with a thing or two from him. He has nice stuff. He has sometimes some neat stuff that he finds.
Speaking of rare TVs, look at that Admiral.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty neat, huh?
I'm sure that has to be a joy to work on.
Yeah,
Oh
and
boy.
$125, and it says
Oh my God.
I don't know what the scribble is. It doesn't say it works. I think it says it works. I think.
Maybe.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I think
is.
so. It says works.
Yeah, it looks like works to me. Yeah.
What do you guys think? Early 60s?
Yeah,
Probably
probably.
late 50s, early 60s, I'd
Yeah.
say.
Not very seen very often.
Nah.
They didn't have a
Uh,
high survival rate,
Yeah, I
no.
imagine that.
Well, it was portable, so it was only portable till the handle broke or
That's right.
the picture tube went bad, and then it was landfill.
Yep.
I see a lot of old manuals on that table too. I saw
Oh
Radio
yeah.
3 and
Yeah, there's a number of books I can bring up. Where's the arrow? Come on, where's the arrow?
But Cunningham tubes in it.
There we go. Maybe it's
right on
the
the table there.
shaping.
I see Atwater Kent Radio, Radiola 3A, and another RCA Victor thing. And then you got a lot of Edison books in there.
Yeah.
Edison books. And you guys have good stuff up there, man. I want,
You come
if,
on, come up and
if it
visit,
wasn't so
Bob.
cold up there, I'd move up there by you guys.
No, don't come up now. It's like living in the Arctic.
Yeah, it's been but yeah, you gotta come up one of these days when these events, Bob. Come and
I'll probably have to
bring
do it
it.
during the warm weather. So you guys got to find a warm weather event I could sleep in my car.
Bring a truck.
No, no. I've got a 50-year-old. I've got a 57-year-old station wagon. I could put sheetrock and 4x8 sheets of plywood in, and gets about 10 miles a gallon. I am not driving up there.
Yeah.
No. Ain't gonna happen.
I remember one time in Fall River there was an auction and there were all these big trucks out there and they were loading them up with all kinds of stuff. So I went and talked to one of the guys that was running one of the trucks. I says, "Where are you taking all this stuff to?" He says, "West Coast. They don't have any of this stuff over there."
Interesting.
Yep.
But it's true. I mean, and we have some neat stuff, and oftentimes for reasonable prices.
Yeah, well, these were like
You guys have stuff from people with good taste. I'm used to these cheap New Jersey people that are just they sell stuff on eBay that's worth $5 and think they're going to get $200 for. It doesn't pan out. But you guys have genuinely nice things.
Yeah, we have some cool stuff that shows up.
I tip my hat to you guys.
Oh, thank you, Bob. That is high praise. So Well, it's Steve, more reason for you to come up and visit us and to load up, even fill your trunk of your Camry or whatever, however it takes.
The spring
Well,
and
my
fall
wife
shows
has a
had good
Camry. I think she'd
updates.
get mad if I loaded it up with stuff in her car. I have a Toyota Venza, which is kind of like
That'll do it. That's even more
that-
space.
it's actually a little bit bigger than a RAV4, so
Yeah, there you go.
I can get into some trouble with that, I suppose.
Yeah, no question about it. No
Hey,
question about it.
John, can I show you guys something real quick?
Yeah, of course. I can
And,
stop
Tom
sharing.
might be interested if he's still listening. I don't know if he's still connected.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Tom's there.
A couple of years ago, I bought this at Nearfest. I'm trying to make the camera show it the right way. So this is allegedly a McElroy Morse code practice oscillator, which did not work correctly when I got it. It does now. I don't know if this is a forgery, if it's legit. It claims to be McElroy and it works. I think it's cool either way, but I just thought I'd show this off real quick because
Yeah.
I think it classifies as vintage electronics.
Absolutely.
So don't know if Tom's listening or if he has any comment one way or the other, but I figured I'd share it with you guys just real quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, no.
I'm listening, and McElroy made a great many different code practice oscillators. Most of his production was for the military, interestingly enough. He made paper tape code sending machines, and many of those, and they were quite rare because people didn't use them for very long, and they'd throw them away, or the case would crack or something. That one's in beautiful condition, and the label on it. Can you show the label once again? Because McElroy was a bit of a sneaky guy, and he had a bunch of companies, and one of them says not incorporated, and that's not one of them. This is one of his legitimate companies.
Okay, good to know.
That's great, Andy. Thank you for showing it.
The back of it, I doubt those are original knobs. I may have put them on myself because there was nothing there, but this is the condition it's in. It works. It wasn't working, like I said. I fixed the electronics in it, and it seems to be fine. It does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And there's
He
no
did a pretty good job of manufacturing stuff in
there's
his
one little break in
Wow.
the bottom here, but other than that,
Yeah.
that's it. There's no other cracks in it.
Wow. Cosmetically looks great.
Nice.
Bakelite's nice and shiny on that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing.
That was a whopping $40 at Nearfest.
Is that a Ranger or a
Nice.
Viking 2 in the background?
Oh, so that fell into my lap. Hang on, I'll move over so you can see it. It is a Viking Ranger, and I'd have to move the whole computer to zoom in on it. I'm helping out a ham radio guy who needs to unload his equipment because his health and his eyesight are such that he can no longer enjoy the hobby. And he says to me, Andy, for helping me out, keep the Viking Ranger. And so I'm only vaguely familiar with radios of that era, and I'm learning more as I fix them up. But I understand that was the transmitter in the day for CW and AM.
Actually, it's Big Brother, the Valiant, may have that title. The reason I ask is I have a Valiant that, it's that footprint, but maybe,
Right.
I don't know, 30, 40% bigger. It's 300 watt, 250 watt.
Yeah, and weighs a ton.
Weighs a
Yeah,
ton.
it weighs a lot. I have not begun to bring it up to speed yet. I looked inside it. It looks very clean to me, cosmetically and otherwise. I don't think anybody's fingers or screwdrivers have been in there. And I'm just, learning about it to understand, okay, sure, I'm going to do the caps and all of that, but I found out about the so-called Chernobyl resistor, which I didn't know about previously. So before I go diving in there and screwing things up, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing.
I have found that there are people who make complete, recapping kits for it, $75 or something.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those online, and I may do that. And there's also a gentleman named Terry on D Labs. Is it D Labs Electronics? I think on YouTube.
In Michigan.
Yeah, and he has a couple of really excellent videos about this and what he did to replace certain components that would be difficult to find otherwise.
There was some guys advertising in ER that made a complete new bezel, a whole new dial for them. You could buy the dial and replace it.
Oh, cool. So I'm
Yeah.
gathering information at this point before I warm up the soldering iron. And no, I'm not going to turn it on until I do the work on it. But I hope I can. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to bring it up on the air once I do all the work.
Andy, there's a lot of work going on to help people like the guy who's losing his hearing. The ARRL has something called Handy Hams, and there's a lot of other stuff. And just putting a buzzer instead of a loudspeaker on the radio allows many people to still copy code. And the Long Island CW Club has a little conversion kit where you can plug it into the speaker jack of a radio instead of a speaker. It's a haptic device. It vibrates your skin. And if he still knows the Morse code, he can still copy Morse code on the air. It's a tunable frequency, so pretty neat stuff. So, I hate to see someone just pull out a ham radio because they are going deaf.
Well, no, the gentleman's he's legally blind at this point. His hearing is actually okay.
Okay.
He's a technician. He's not learned CW, and he used to spend most of his time on the local 2-meter repeaters because his living situation is such that he cannot mount any sort of antenna outdoors. But his health is deteriorating and his eyesight is all but gone, and so he's just decided I'm done struggling with all of this, and I'm trying to get him a few bucks for some of his ham related items. And I just started that a day or two ago, but he asked me to fix that radio up and keep it. And he also gave me the Nye Viking 3 kilowatt tuner that I don't know if
the reason I mention it is I'm trying to help a blind and deaf guy to function in the world, and using these haptic vibrations, skin vibrations, to allow him to copy Morse code. He's learned Morse code, and so I just want to be sure that the guy really wants to cut off his
Yeah,
ham radio.
I'm afraid that he does, and I did speak to him about it because I know him somewhat. So I don't think there's any talking him out of it at this point.
Okay.
Use a few bucks too. He's kind of in dire straits that way. But with regard to helping out individuals who are losing certain senses and still function in the hobby, you folks might be aware of the gentleman from India that has the microbit and SBitX and other radios of that line. Well, when he had the microbit out, I totally hacked the software in that and added the EMIC2 chip to it so that the radio could speak to you. And my notion was that it would be usable by a blind person. And I actually had a blind test person kick the tires on it and say, yeah, Andy, you're right on. Because I have no idea what it's like to be a blind ham. I took some guesses and he said I was pretty much right on. But sadly, they don't make that EMIC2 chip anymore. And I can't make these in my garage with any sort of economy of scale. So it became a year-long ham radio programming project, but I did get it to work.
Nice.
So that was fun. That's not vintage, but that was still fun.
Cool. That's great.
Let me give you a quick report on the the talk, the AWA talk on resistors and capacitors.
Sure, Tom.
He went through all the different kinds of resistors and finally concluded that it absolutely doesn't matter what kind of resistor you use, as long as the resistance is what it's stated to be, and as long as the power rating is in there. And he said there are people who claim that they can tell the difference between a deposited metal and something else. And there are other people who say, oh, wire wound resistors have a lot of inductance, and that's a big problem in audio. You can hear the difference when you put a wire wound. And he went in and he calculated the inductance of a wire wound resistor and figured out that it wouldn't even start affecting a circuit unless you were up in the 150 megacycle range or so.
Yeah.
So that part was kind of fun. And he went into a bit of discussion about capacitors and how people are absolutely convinced that the more expensive the capacitor is, the better the sound is going to be. Everybody was laughing at that one. And so really there was no meat in that diet in that talk.
That's
How
funny.
about the guys that replaced their nice Mylar capacitors and with these old bumblebee black bumblebee capacitors that are
Yeah, you
leaking?
gotta have the bumblebee sound.
Yeah, bumblebee sound. That's right.
That's funny. That's funny.
But some of those talks are pretty good, and John, we might want to sort of try and schedule around them. Yeah, they always put an announcement on the email group for us. I don't know whether you saw it this time, but AWA, when they're going to have these talks, they send it out to all of our people.
I
And
don't think I saw it on our reflector that I can recall,
really,
but
okay.
what I can
Well,
do
maybe
is
maybe I'll forward one to you, and you can get on that list or whatever.
well, I can see, I mean, it varies. So you sound like it's the third, I suppose it's the third Wednesday of the month. It depends on
Yeah.
your, because yeah, I do our scheduling so that we have two meetings per month. So every so often I'll skip an extra week and we'll go 3 weeks between meetings. But I usually try to pick like the first or second week, and then the last week of the month is usually what I settle on, but it all depends. Sometimes I have to jockey if I'm going anywhere. If I know, okay, I'm going to be out that week, I'll just move things around a little bit or out a few days. But to your point, I could try to coordinate this. I could try shifting if enough people want to attend the AWA meetings, especially if the topic is good, I could try doing a Thursday meeting instead if I wanted to try to keep it on that week as an alternative. I could try and see if
But
I could do that.
that's hard for your schedule, isn't it? You said
Well,
Thursday's not great.
it depends whether if I work from home on a Thursday, it's not a problem.
Mhm.
If I don't work, if I go in the office, it can be done, but it's a little challenging because I'm struggling with traffic and trying to get home and
Mm.
eat before. But let's see how we can make this work because I'm not going in every Thursday to the office. So let's see if we can make something work. And I'm happy to try to accommodate some of this so that if people want to go, they get to get the best of both worlds. So yeah, the AWA and of course the Nevic Zoom meeting. So yeah,
Some of
thanks for
the
raising that.
some of
Um,
the talks are pretty good. This one was a total loss, but you can't know.
right. I had a lot of promise, Tom.
Yeah, I will
Big old
forward it.
dud.
Every time I get one of these, I'll forward it to you, and you
If you
can sort of
would,
get a feel for it and
because
all. Yeah.
did they list their schedule ahead of time? Because I
Eh,
can,
Not
yeah,
on the announcement that they send out, but there may be somebody there, and I know most of the guys there, and we could arrange maybe to get a look at that schedule.
yeah. If you could send me, even if it is a heads up, if they post at least maybe a week ahead or even a few days ahead, I can see if I can jockey and move the meeting to Thursday
Mhm.
to accommodate that. I'm happy to try to
Yeah,
be
I
as flexible as
think
I
I
can.
think they send out the announcement about 2 weeks ahead of time, and that'll help a little bit.
Yeah,
And I'll
absolutely.
send you one representative one, and we'll
That'd be
see.
great. Yeah, Tom, if you could do that, yeah, I'm happy to try and accommodate so people can, have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. So yeah, that's great. I guess I can show a few more photos here. We have maybe about 25 minutes roughly. Uh,
John,
yeah.
John,
Oh, hey, Pear, welcome back. You're back.
thank yeah. Well, I came back from Thailand, and it was so cold around here that I knew about being cold here while I was still in Thailand, so I had my daughter contact somebody in um, Fort Collins, Colorado, who has a whole bunch of Hudsons.
Okay.
And we worked things out. And she bought me a ticket. So when I got back here after a couple of days, I got on the plane to go there for a week. Just came back today and worked on a nice 1930 car and 1932 car and 1933 car. Had a very nice time. But I was brought to meet a person near the person who has all these cars who I stayed with, And this guy has a lot of tubes and test equipment, which he moved when he and his wife moved 20 years ago. Uh, they packed all of this into a barn,
Huh?
and he hasn't looked at it since that time. But he
Well,
described some of the tubes as having 4 pins and 5 pins and 6 pins. And I said, well, I'm pretty interested in that stuff. And they're probably also octal tubes and so on. And every now and then somebody, asks for a certain tube, and some of them are getting to be in very short supply. And so I'm wondering, do I encourage this guy to try to find that box full of all of those tubes?
find those tubes, pair. Find those tubes.
Okay.
I'm
And I don't
sure.
know, when it comes to test equipment, maybe it's possible that nobody wants any, but he talks about having a couple of tube testers and various other things. And so, and he's not as old as me, but on the other hand, he is more than 80 anyway. So
Yeah, no, I mean, if you can shake the tree and get those out there, it's probably good for everybody, especially it's a lot of the early tubes, might have some
Part of
yeah, I
the
mean, I
value.
don't
trouble
know
with
if those,
a big collection is that you have to catalog it and
Yeah,
write down what you have and sort of look at them. And of course, ideally, you test them, but forget that.
yeah,
But
right.
how many tubes can you take a rough guess at what we're talking about?
I have no idea. And
Yeah, okay.
it's been so long that he wouldn't give me an estimate. But it makes me feel like the box must be pretty big. Now I'm hoping that there's a number of, the fairly big older ones there, and that it's not mostly just a bunch of miniature tubes.
Right. Well,
Where are they located?
geez, Paris, sounds like another trip back out there is warranted.
Well, I'm definitely going there for a week 1 year from now. I
Yeah.
was
Well,
there for a week a year ago, and now one of the cars that really frustrated us a year ago, the 1932 Essex. This time, what was he had finished some of the things that we had difficulty with then, but the wiring needed work, and so I got the wiring totally straightened out. So for the first time since he bought the car 12 years ago, uh, the car came out and drove around.
And
wow.
the headlights go on.
Well, that's an interesting thing because
Oh,
the one- the one defective component that we tried very hard to fix was the headlight dimmer switch that you push with your foot. So it has headlights, but it only has one beam. Both
Ah,
headlights, but one beam. But he says he's never going to drive it at night anyway. So he was just concerned that the brake lights would work, and those we got to work. So that
yay.
was good.
And where
All right.
was this again?
Fort Collins, Colorado,
Ah,
which
okay.
is about 70 miles drive north
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. I
Denver
know where.
Airport.
I'm familiar where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a farm, and he built several buildings on the farm to hold all of his 17 antique cars. And he's got heat in there in one section of it so that
You should work on them in the
work
winter.
can be done with comfort.
Yeah.
Well, with this weather in the Northeast, pair, it might drive you back out there,
Well, during the time I was there, they declared that they broke a record for 35 days where the temperature got up to 60 in the winter season, and the winter season isn't over yet.
Yeah.
So during the time I was there, every day got up to 60 or 62 or something like that. And so, in contrast to the lower 30s around here, and that had just come up from much colder. But
Yeah. During most of February, it hardly ever got up above freezing.
that's right. That's right.
But really bad. My arthritis knows it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I should say, drop in and say, Rob, hey, thanks for joining. If we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been, w- Wednesdays have been a busy night for me, so I haven't. I'm here now because I haven't been feeling well for the past couple of days, so I'm home.
Got it.
It's
Got it.
interesting to hear about your crypto experience, Rob, too. There's a group, if you're ever interested in going back into that field or just playing
No,
along with it.
my experience is I was an actual operator.
Yeah.
And that's my familiar. I don't think I ever want to get into those and speak and that. John, there's something I should show you here. I know we had to talk about metal detectors one time
Yeah.
and the vast. Well, I've I got a book recently. I'm going to try to show it to you here,
Okay.
and if you can see that,
Yeah, it goes by. Here we go. I
yeah,
spotlighted Inside the
there
Metal
it goes.
Detector, third
Yeah,
edition.
it's printed third edition. This guy here, um, yeah,
Carl
Carl.
Norland.
Can you see it?
Yeah, Carl
Yeah.
Norland,
Norland.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty thick, and it's got. Let me see here.
What's the date on it, Rob? Because there've been some amazing
Well,
progress in the last 20 years.
he's covered. Let's see. This publication is what the heck is it here? Uh, I believe this is the third edition, and I want to say 2023, but I'm
Okay.
not sure. But he covers everything from the initial beginnings in the 50s using BFOs right on up through the latest technology from the 2018 era, where they get into the multi-frequency, multiple tone metal detectors. So,
Pulse detectors, yeah.
and not only that, but he covers the pulse induction detectors, but the multi-frequency, multi-tone um, signal processing ones.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how powerful that technology is today.
It's very interesting, not only in terms of the military, where they're tasked with locating mines, of course, and then, of course, the military developed non-metallic mines,
Yeah,
which required a
yeah,
different technology,
yeah.
but also, in my case, looking for Enigma machines in battlefields and underwater. Finding an Enigma machine underwater is very exciting. I have a little YouTube thing on that.
I never thought about that. I would expect it would all be in very deep water, but
No, no. At
always,
the end of the war, those 30,000 Enigma machines that were originally built had to be destroyed.
so
And
they just
many
dumped
of
them
the
overboard, huh?
Germans didn't want to put a hand grenade in one, a hand grenade and blow it up. They just wanted to get rid of it. So they threw them in lakes. And they're
Huh?
sitting down there in lakes, very easy to get at. And it's fresh water. So someday I could show you some pictures of the machines that we've gotten out of lakes, and they're not in too
Hmm.
bad condition after
Yeah,
70
I would
years.
expect if they were freshwater and it was very cold lakes, they probably survived pretty well.
Yeah,
Um, because I have seen radios that come out of freshwater lakes that were in the mud where
right.
there wasn't much oxygen, and they survived incredibly well.
Yeah, in salt water, the salt
Oh,
gets at the metal and
forget it.
the metal's gone.
Yep, yep, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's we'll try to prepare something for you on that, John.
That
That'd be
would be a
great.
lot of fun.
That would be.
The low frequency detectors really had a great deal of potential, but they only turned out to be good for very large objects. the ones where you had two separate boxes and you carried them
Oh
along
yeah,
with you.
yeah. I built
You
one of
remember?
those back in the 60s.
Yeah, right.
And it was very, very interesting to use for finding dump sites on old farms
Yeah,
where you could start digging up and find all kinds of old bottles and everything else.
right.
They were good for that, very good for that.
Yeah,
But yeah, you have they're good for. I know they're good for finding buried power wires. I know that
yeah,
they
right.
work really well for that. So, but yeah, yeah, that's that technology. I've been in and out of it for a number of years. You know, right now I was doing metal detecting up until it got really cold, and now you go out and you can go down about 5 or 6 inches on a beach, and you hit solid ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need a pickaxe.
Yeah.
You need a pickaxe or you know, one of those drills they use for breaking up concrete. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing
Hey,
that intrigues me is ground penetrating radar as opposed to
Hmm.
the metal detecting. And we had a couple of guys using that fairly locally. Unfortunately, the resolution isn't very good. You can't see small objects well with it, but
Yeah,
it's a very interesting technology too.
yeah, yeah.
mm,
Some of these newer, well, not newer, but they're made in the 2000s um, period of time, maybe 2005, 2008, pulse induction detectors. Um, they will pick up a gold nugget the size of a BB,
wow.
and uh, and they're really good for picking up small gold items lost in the beach. The
Right.
only problem with them is that they don't have any discrimination, so be prepared to do a lot of digging.
Oh, got it.
Yep. But
Hey,
Let me just show you a gold nugget. I just happened to be doing a talk I took across a trip across the Northwest Passage, and I'm doing a talk on Friday about it. And let me see if I can just show you this picture for a moment. Oh, doggone, where'd you go? There it is. 1 second. Uh, um, we ended up in Nome, and there's still a great deal of gold hunting
oh
going
yeah,
on in Nome. And because, of course, the price of gold has gone up so high.
it's over
And
five
so,
thousand dollars an ounce now.
yeah, so let me just show you this for 1 second. Talk about off topic. I'm sorry, John,
that's
but this
okay.
is this is
All right.
way, way out there. But are you ready for this? This guy found this nugget in a river in Nome.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if I can get you. Can you see that?
Wow.
Oh my God, that's got to be worth probably $100,000.
At least. Is that
Yeah,
amazing? Oh man.
that's huge. Oh
Wow.
my heavens.
Holy
Yeah,
smokes. Holy
my
Sorry.
smokes.
daughter is coming here in the summer, and I have to give her a metal detector to take back out because she lives in Alaska.
Ah, there you go.
And her and my granddaughter are very interested in, in having a little fun. So,
Yeah, up in Vermont, we have a great deal of gold in every
yes, I
little
know.
stream and river that's sitting there. In the
Yeah,
old days,
I've
every
been gold nugget detecting in
yeah,
Vermont,
yeah,
you know, Vermont
every
woods.
home that had a river running nearby or through
Yep,
the land, they'd
yep,
put a sluice on it, and they'd go out there every couple of weeks and collect the gold.
yep.
And they sort of lost interest when the gold prices went down, but nowadays
A lot of
it's
motivation.
very
Oh yeah.
appealing to
Oh
people.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
lots of motivation right now because if you find just a single good sized gold wedding band, you're looking at $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
Hey.
a lot that's a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder. I know in the old days we used to turn in printed circuit boards to scrappers who would somehow get the
Yep.
gold off the printed
Yeah,
circuit
it's a
board. I
very it's a
wonder, they
very
must
dangerous
be haven't
process because they
evolved
have to
these
use
days.
Yeah, they have to use sulfuric acid to do it.
Yeah. Oof.
Uh-huh.
It's and be very careful with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the past, my brother and I used to do it together. We
Great.
used to, we had some places where we would go into and we would find, between us maybe about 10 gold rings and every time. And back then, gold was only about, I don't know, maybe $100 if it was $100 an ounce. And we we used to do very well. I'd love to find them today, but they're getting a little harder to find now.
Interesting to find someone who will buy it also.
Oh,
I had some metal to sell with silver actually. I
yeah,
learned about a place in the Diamond District in New York City. There's a 13-story building in there, and this place is on the 14th story, and it doesn't show up anywhere, and it isn't on the elevator. So you go into this building, and unless you know what you're doing, you're never going to see that. But if you go up to the 13th floor on the elevator and you say the right thing and go through the right door, you can go up a flight of stairs. And on the 14th floor is a place where they melt down your metal and give you cash.
yep, yep.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I used to sell it to jewelers who were making their own jewelry.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Can I bring my old copper pennies there
no,
to be melted down?
I've got
Yeah.
Copper's
The,
gone through a roof. It's
the,
amazing. I mean, they were having blackouts out in Los Angeles because the homeless people were going underneath the roads and cutting live copper out off the electrical grid
well,
and then
Oh,
cashing
for
it
yeah.
in.
for
Around
many
here,
years, I was a scuba diver, and I would go out and cut pieces of the very early underwater telegraph cable. It had
mhm,
copper
yeah,
in the cable. And I wasn't after the copper, I was actually after the cable to measure the dielectric in it and see how these old cables stood up in terms of their whether the resistance remained very high or whether they gradually started to leak. But because I put some of my adventures on YouTube, people have contacted me and say, "Hey, we want to pull up all the old unused cables all over the world's oceans, and we're going to get copper out of it, and we're going to be millionaires," and so on. So I said, "Listen, the copper is about 1/100th of the weight of the cable. What are you going to do with all the rest of it? And how are you going to extract the copper
yeah.
out of the middle of it?" And after I explain a few things to them, they lose interest.
Well, around here,
They do what Rob does. They go on a beach with a metal locator and find serious money.
yeah, around here, what all the electric company poles around here, they had a maybe about a number 8 copper wire that ran down to ground. Every
Yeah.
one of them, from the ground to about 6 feet up, somebody's gone through and cut them all out.
Wow. That's important for lightning protection.
Yes, I know. That's why what happens is when you get a lightning hit around here, it goes looking for ground, and if you happen to be the only house,
Wow.
it's that's right. And the house across the street here had that happen to him, and it it went into the house looking for ground, and it blew all the electrical sockets
Oh,
out of their housings. It
Wow.
blew out the washing machine, the refrigerator, the everything. It just he had to replace everything, totally rewire the house.
so where do you live,
Finally,
Rob? The people
and when
go
it
and
finally
steal the
got back
copper.
to where the line came in from the pole, where at the house they had a you know when they had a ground rod there. It finally was happy, and that's where it went.
Where,
Blew the
where,
meter off the side of the house
Rob,
Wow.
where do you live? I'd be interested
in
in
Warwick,
knowing.
Rhode Island.
Say again?
Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay. And people are actually going around taking copper
Yep,
off the
yep,
poles. Oh my
yep.
God.
And when the electric light trucks, the energy people come in and they're replacing it with these heavy gauge aluminum.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing they can do. And
Yep.
uh, aluminum at about 55 cents a pound isn't as easy to sell, as make a profit with
Right.
copper. Oh yeah, copper. Even silver now is up over close to, I think, I'm not sure, but recently it was $100 an ounce. It's probably over that now.
It's around $75 an
Is it
ounce.
around 75 now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But gold at between, $4,800, $5,000 an ounce. Oh my God.
Just a year ago, it was $3,000 an ounce.
Yeah.
In 1 year,
Yeah.
it's gone to like it was 5,000 today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's incredible. I mean,
Anybody want to come pan gold in Vermont?
In this weather?
Yeah, maybe in 6 months or so.
Bring your sledgehammer.
Oh man.
I think it would be rather interesting if you could go in some of the streams in Vermont, and I'm sure that you
Oh,
would find gold
absolutely.
nuggets
Yeah.
with a metal detector.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like watching these guys on television who take these rather large magnets and they
oh
add eye
yeah,
bolts to it
yeah,
or whatever, and
right,
they go
right.
magnet fishing and they
Go
pull out
magnet
guns
fishing.
and
Yeah,
iPhones and all kinds of stuff out of wire. It's just fun to watch.
guns.
No gold, though.
No
No
gold.
gold, no.
No gold.
Too bad. The good stuff isn't magnetic.
Yep, yep. That's true. That's true.
I have fond memories of where you guys were talking about metal detectors. I didn't want to interrupt, but I have a late uncle who was an RCA engineer for 20 plus years, and then he ended up working for Lucent and then eventually AT&T. And he was a car guy, and he got me into cars. And we did a lot of things together when we were younger. And one of the things we did one time was I was on vacation from school and work, and I took a trip with him to Pennsylvania, and we were over uh, probably close to the Gettysburg area. It wasn't in Gettysburg, but it was outside Gettysburg.
Yep.
And he gave me his old Garrett metal detector, and he bought this is probably the early 80s, and this was like the high-end bells and whistles model he had, but I had his old one.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still have it. I have two Garretts. We went through this farmer's field, and what it was the father of my father. He spent time in the Navy, and this is one of his Navy buds. Is his father's farm, and he got permission that we can wander around the farm and with the metal detectors. Oh yeah, you guys are all right. And we sat down, had beers, and the next morning, we're out there at breakfast, and we're out there with metal detectors. Well, probably about 4 hours into the stuff, and we were about ready to knock off for lunch or whatever. My uncle found a cannonball, a real deal
great.
cannonball, and
Wow.
it was just mud and rust and ugly. No, you want to pack it in? And my uncle was all excited. No, let's keep going.
Now,
So
the
like,
problem
no,
with
okay.
cannonballs,
So I take my machine, and all of a sudden, I have a discriminator on mine, the good one, and this didn't have a discriminator on, so I was digging and digging and digging, and finally I found a cannonball, and it was just amazing. We were out there till it got dark, and we didn't eat, we didn't drink, we didn't do anything else, and just trying to find stuff. So we each got a cannonball to bring back to New Jersey. So
what
that was
diameter? What was
my
the
fond memories of that.
What was the diameter approximately?
It was about the size of a softball.
Oh, okay.
So, some of those cannonballs were filled with powder.
Yeah, that's right.
Clank on it.
I'm still here. Hey, Tom, I'm still here to talk to you about it. So I don't have it anymore. I think I gave it to an old girlfriend or something that she was
You didn't like her.
I take an ex-girlfriend.
So I imagine maybe her.
Jump away here.
It's interesting, but here in the States, we look for things in the ground that are maybe like, 200 years old, 300 years old. In Europe, they find things that are 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're looking at even in England, they're looking at old Roman coins. And I mean, that stuff is just unbelievable what they find out there.
I was digging in battlefields over there, and then I realized that I'm liable to come across a live hand grenade that's going to go off. And heard about a couple of people exploding themselves, so I quit.
Yeah, you gotta be careful where you look. You don't have to worry about that around here, but out there, yeah, old World War II munitions are
right.
It can be a problem.
Yeah, especially in Europe. They're still finding bombs that, were dropped from, bombers, even they're doing like construction projects, they're still finding them, whether it's England or Germany or whatever, because there's
Yeah.
so many bombs dropped and not all of them went off.
Yeah, where I was in Italy, there was a major city, and it was also one of the major rail hubs in Italy. It had an airport there, which we were using. And during World War II, the Germans shipped everything in to this area to be flown to Rommel's African campaign in in North Africa. And it some of the Americans bombed that whole area, and they told all the Italians to get out because we're going to bomb it. So they did. And they later came in and rebuilt the city, but there were portions of the city that weren't rebuilt because there was just too many unexploded ordnances in there, bombs and stuff. And when I was there, you'd be sleeping in the hotel at night and you would hear this boom. And you know that one of the bombs reached critical state and
Yeah.
blew up because, yeah, you didn't want to go wandering into them at all. You want to
Yeah,
stay.
I dug up some stuff around the bridge at Remagen, and
Oh,
I
wow.
found the fuse from the front of an artillery shell, and that
Yep.
was pretty amazing. When I
Wow.
was a kid, I was spent summers on the New Jersey shore. In the middle of the night, there'd be a tremendous explosion, and find out in the morning that a tanker had been blown up by a U-boat. So it was really scary for a little kid to hear this, and
Wow.
that meant the Germans were a quarter mile from where I was sleeping, and
That's
it was
right.
a very
Yeah.
scary time.
Oh,
I used to know a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, but he was Dutch and a very brilliant man. And during World War II, he used to go out and find unexploded ordnance for the Dutch underground
Mm,
to use to make explosives.
yeah.
And his famous story is he was on a train going from one place to another, and he had false papers, and he was moving radio pots from one place to another for the underground. He was just like in his teens at this time, and a German, not a SS or anything, but the standard German army came on the plane. He was looking at papers, and he checked his papers. And he looked at him. He checked his papers. He bent down and looked at him and told him, "If I were you, I would get off the next stop because the stop after the Gestapo was getting on." Saved his life.
Wow.
wow.
But some of the stories he used to tell about finding these old artillery shells and everything, and that pick them up and they would transport them to the underground, the Dutch underground, to make munitions out of them. Wow.
Yeah. Any
Interesting.
place they could get explosives, they were
Yep,
happy to.
yep, yep. That's right, boy. Yeah, that was quite experiences for him and for me to hear it from him.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to be careful on this airport where we were in Italy because around in that area there were still some areas to where you know there were potential bombs that hadn't been blown up or anything. But I know when they surveyed to put the antenna that we had, which happened to be the antennas we had were stacked rhombics aligned fore and aft and right and left. And the
Wow.
antenna field was so big that somebody had to take a jeep and go out once a week. They would pack a lunch for him and everything that he needed, and he went and checked all the guy wires, the cables, the deadfalls, the towers themselves, and he would return from this activity when the sun was going down. That's how big these arrays were. They were
Wow.
huge, absolutely huge. And we would measure some of the signals coming down the arrays at the trailers where we had all our equipment, and we would measure signals coming from parts of Europe and Russia and other places in the millivolts, not microvolts, millivolts.
Wow. Yeah. It's like
Interesting.
living in New York City with WABC AM on.
Oh yeah.
You could hear the radio with the fillings in your teeth.
Yeah.
Oh
The
yeah.
base of the tower.
The
A lot of
famous story
stories.
about the guy that was driving somewhere in Maine, and he had a trailer truck full of flash bulbs, and he passed within the pretty good range of the 20 kc VLF station they had up there, and all the flash bulbs went off and the truck blew up. Yeah, that's
I take it. I hope he was okay.
well, yeah. I mean, it just the truck blew up, and he was kept going. That was up near Cutler, Maine, I guess. Yeah, somewhere in that area. Nobody ever told him you don't want to bring those flash bulbs too close to
I can't
anything like
remember the
that.
name of the creator, but there's a video on YouTube where there was a guy who was basically he was an engineer, and he went to this AM and broadcast antenna one time, and him and his son, they go outside, and they're talking about how dangerous it is and everything. So what's the next thing they do? They pull out a hot dog and they cook the hot dog on the antenna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's just
That's funny.
it's
What I always
amazing what RF can do.
Yeah, well, I always, these guys that used to climb these towers to replace a light bulb, and they would have a little stand at the base of the tower, and they would jump from the stand onto the tower. And once you're on the tower, you can go up and down that without
Yeah.
much trouble. And but coming down was a little tricky because you had to leap off.
All right.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the whole tower is hot. It's
that's right. The whole
insulated with
tower's
those
hot.
glass insulators at the bottom.
Just as long as you didn't get too far a distance between, one section and another. And he said you had to be a little careful when you were climbing the tower and you come to where they bolt the sections together. If
Yeah.
any of those sections got any kind of corrosion in there, you can develop a pretty good RF voltage across those two sections of the tower, and enough of a difference to it'll tickle you.
Ah,
Wow.
Gives a
wow.
whole new meaning to the Debbie Boone song, "You Light Up My Life."
That's right.
That's
Yes.
right. You could put, if you get close enough, you could put the bulb in like Uncle Fester, and the light will go on.
Well, about people up near Cutler, Maine, they had to store all their fluorescent bulbs in a closet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd stay lit all night
Yeah, right.
and flash, because Cutler was all CW. So, but yeah, the farmers would go out in the night and would check their fields, and they'd go to the barn or something, and they would carry a fluorescent lamp with them. They didn't need any flashlights.
That's funny. That's cool.
Crazy stuff, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Free electricity.
Free
exactly.
electricity, yeah.
Well,
at least
guys,
free lighting anyway.
well,
Good
let me.
stuff.
This was some fun story, as exchange here. And this is anywhere, any direction this meeting could have gone. This is fun. So, I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for joining, Rob. You certainly added an interesting
Yeah.
dimension. But and you'll have to come back because I actually wanted to ask you maybe the next meeting is tell us about where you're rummaging in the New England Wireless and Steam Museum one of these days.
I'm not with them anymore. Well,
Oh, okay.
we
Okay.
had a difference of opinion, and
I see. Okay.
Speaking of rummaging, my house got run into at St. Patrick's Day of last year, and a bit of the foundation went across and destroyed a little TV set that I had for use with my TRS-80 computer.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if I'll find somebody who will put a little TV set on the free table or sell it for a reasonable amount, because I would like to be able to play a little bit with that computer.
So you're just like a regular, regular conventional TV set, because a lot of
That's
those old computers,
No, it has
Yeah,
a video, straight
Yeah,
video input,
right.
Yeah,
normal
video
video.
monitor.
But I mean, some of the like my first computer, it was both the TV and it's like video. You could be your monitor for your computer as well. It was basically,
Yeah, it was an RF modulator to be able to
yeah,
go in on channel 3.
yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. That's what I use. Well, Pear, we'll have to keep an eye out for you, because there were, funny enough, a couple of TVs that were thereabouts the free table, but they were pretty old and they were snapped up because it's funny when people drop off the items at the table before the show starts. The vultures, anyone who's got setting up the tables come flying in, see the arms flapping, they go grab it off, they run off, they go. So so it's I guess the early bird gets the worm.
Well,
Certainly.
Oh, speaking of birds, something I just got introduced to was a program called About Birds that you can download on your phone, and then you press the listen button, and it listens to everything around it. And when I first got the thing downloaded was after I got to Thailand, and there was one area where I had the thing on for half an hour early in the morning, and it heard 20 birds, or 18 birds and 2 owls. Anyway,
Oh,
Will it recognize them and tell you what they are?
yes, it will.
Ooh.
now did you try to fake one out and make a bird sound? Did it believe you?
There was one squeaking door. I tried moving that door, rhythmically, but I failed to persuade it that it was a bird.
Ah, but well,
But anyway, when a bird watching friend told me about this, and it immediately invites you to sign up for a 7-day free trial, but don't sign up for it, and the thing keeps working. Mine's been working for a whole month or more now. So About Birds, put it in if you feel like messing with that a bit. I find it a lot of fun.
I know my wife has a program on her phone that you take a picture of a plant or a leaf or anything, and it'll tell you what it is.
yep. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, I know
especially.
it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, guys, it was a fun meeting. It was real, and I appreciate all the interesting stories and tidbits, because we certainly heard of some really fun and interesting stories. So I certainly appreciate that. But I look forward to see you guys in the first week in March to talk about all the loot you came back from the New England Vintage Electronic Expo 9. So that means I hope to see a number of you there. I know some of you guys I won't see you because you're not nearby, but hopefully we'll see you guys there. We'll have lots to talk about, see what you guys came back with. If not, if nothing else, your impression. So in the interim, have a great 2 weeks, and stay warm. Hopefully the weather will eventually, maybe around May or June, it'll finally warm up. But in the meantime, you guys take care. It was great seeing you all, and hope to see you again in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, March 1st, be there or be square.
Bye, everybody.
All right,
All right,
guys.
everybody.
Take care
Good night,
of yourselves.
everybody.
Bye.